Welcome to a little bit of Calm and Crazy. Today I'm excited to share with you 3 new Dollar Tree DIY ideas that I think look super high end. My name is Jennifer. I hope you enjoy these easy DIYs and budget decor. Today's video is sponsored by SUREBONDER. Let's get into it. For this project, I am using 2 of these Dollar Tree rugs. Now, I'm using these in a green color, but they do come in black, gray, and tan as well. So here I'm laying them out and showing you that the rugs actually are not the same size. One of my rugs is more narrow than the other. So don't worry about that. If you happen to pick up 2 different size rugs, it will work out just fine for a project like this. Do have a rug that is more narrow. That is the one that I chose to go ahead and cut in half. So all I did is find the center mark. I used my rotary cutter and cut it straight up the middle. If you don't have a rotary cutter, you could use a pair of scissors. It doesn't have to necessarily be a super pretty cut because you are not going to see where you actually cut it. So now I'm going in with my SUREBONDER hot glue gun and their hot glue fabric glue, which if you've been around, you know that I love the hot glue fabric glue. It is a great alternative to sewing, and especially for a project like this because these rugs would require you to have like a heavy duty machine needle in order to sew them, and this hot glue is just going to be so much faster and easier than trying to deal with that. You can wash these, you can dry them on a low temp. It's fantastic. Now, a little pro tip, I do use a different glue gun for my special hot glues than I use for my other hot glues. And that way, I'm not always having to change out my glue gun. As you can see, I'm creating a table runner by placing that first rug will be the centerpiece and the 2 halves will be the outside pieces, and just securing those with that fabric hot glue. Now I'm taking the halves in the center, making sure that those are aligned and about 1 inch up from the fringe of that first piece, and then making sure that I'm using plenty of that fabric hot glue to make sure it's nice and secure. Now, I will admit I go a little excessive on my hot glue. I always do, but you know, I just would rather have a little extra than ever wonder if I used enough. So that's just, I always lean on the side of caution. So for $2 and a super easy, just little snip, snip, hot glue and done, you have a beautiful mini table runner. I absolutely love this, and it was so simple to do. For this project, you will need a piece of glass and some bamboo skewers. The glass that I'm using is actually just an 8x10 piece of glass that I got out of a picture frame. I used the picture frame in a previous project, and I just had the glass lying around. I'm using the miter shears in order to cut the bamboo skewers so that they match up with the length of the glass. Now, I go ahead and I cut the first piece by just measuring out the length of the glass, and then I use that first piece in order to help me measure out my second piece. After that, I'm going in with some E6000 in order to attach it to the glass. Now, the reason why I'm using the E6000 is that it will do really well to secure the bamboo to the glass. If I were to use the hot glue would peel off, and so that is why I chose to use the E6000 for this step. After I did that, I had to do the exact same thing, but this time with the width of the glass. I needed to get 2 pieces that matched the width of the glass. Once I had those 2 pieces cut, I went ahead and I applied them again with that E6000. Once I had all those applied, I now needed to create a frame that would be the top of my box, and it needed to be the exact same size as the frame of the glass. So I cut 2 sides that were equal to the length and 2 that were equal to the width. And this time I used the hot glue. I'm using my detail tip. This is the cordless one. This is my absolute favorite SUREBONDER glue gun. It's my go-to one, the one I use all the time. And I cannot tell you the number of times I am so glad I have that little detailed glue, or glue tip, I should say, because you just need sometimes the tiniest amount of glue and you don't want a big glob of glue, and this really helps it get where you want it. And as you can see, I can be super precise. So I go ahead and I build out my frame, and I make sure that that is nice and set up, and then I can move on to the rest of building out my box. So I cut 4 pieces of the bamboo 4 inches long to be the post in the corner of my boxes. And again, I am securing the bamboo with a little E6000 at where the glass and the bamboo touch, and then a little bit of hot glue where the bamboo to bamboo touches, just to make sure that it is extra secure. Once I have secured all 4 posts, now it is time to add the top of the box onto it. And super easy. All I'm going to do is use those posts to kind of rest it as I'm securing each corner. So again, going in with that detail tip, just the tiniest bit of hot glue. I'm just adding hot glue onto the corners and applying the post right into the corner of the box. So as you can see, I'm pressing it in so it is post and then corner to corner. And I do that all the way around. That way it has like 3 points and where it meets up. Instead of laying it right on top of the post, I felt like this would keep it a little bit more secure. And you'll see in the end, I feel like that this really is pretty secure. I wouldn't swing it from a tree, but I feel like it will hold up. Now, adding the sides of the boxes or the decorative parts of the boxes, not only are they decorative, but they actually will add extra reinforcements to make sure that this box really is secure and will hold up and stand the test of time. So this is not a step I would skip. Using my miter shears, I am cutting 4 pieces of bamboo at 5.5 inches long, and that is for the length of the box. And then for the width of the box, I measure out the angle from top corner to bottom corner, and I cut a bamboo skewer, and then I'm cutting a smaller piece that will go from one corner and then down. It's not an exact science. I just make sure then I cut the exact same sizes for the opposite side. I hope that makes sense and you can see exactly what it is that I'm doing. In order to know how or what size I wanted that smaller piece to be, I decided it was better to go ahead and attach that longer piece from corner to corner. Now again, attaching it from corner to corner will add that extra reinforcement so that the box will be extra secure. Going in again with my cordless detailed SUREBONDER glue gun. I can't even stress to you how much I love this glue gun. It really is my absolute favorite one and the one that I reach for the most. But you can't even see the hot glue seeping out anywhere. It's fantastic. So once I have that piece attached, then I can measure out the smaller piece that I want, and I measure from the corner and get the angle that I want. And once I have that piece measured out, I go ahead and cut the second piece for the opposite side. After you have the piece cut, then again, just going in with some hot glue, you can attach it straight away. Now I went ahead to give it a little bit more of a polished look. I did angle that piece that was going bamboo to bamboo on that bottom. I gave it just a slight bit of an angle so it had a more flush look. I'll show you right here what it is I'm talking about. So placing the wood in the miter shears, I just angled it ever so slightly and I just trimmed it so that if you see right there, it just has a slight angle and a little bit of a point. That will help it lay a little bit more flush when you're going on these angles. I did that all the way around as I'm going, and it really does give it a little bit more of a polished look. So that way you don't have such a blunt cut, and you'll see that especially in that final product when I'm showing this to you. So I just went around the sides, continuing to secure the bamboo sticks around the edges. Now on the width of the box, or the length of the box, I went from corner down. So I started with the top corner, worked my way down, and then I would go from the top and then to the bottom corner. And from using the corners, I really do felt like that did help make the box more structurally sound, where I felt like it wasn't going to fall apart. And that's the same thing with the width when I went corner to corner. I feel like that is just that added security to really make sure that this is a secure box. It's not gonna fall apart. I'm not gonna add a 10-pound weight to this and then swing it. I don't think it would hold up that well, but it definitely is great to add to a coffee table or a side table and decorate it. It's a beautiful piece. I absolutely love this. It really isn't hard to put together, and it only cost a couple of dollars. For this project, I am using some wood beads that I picked up on Amazon, as well as the white twine that you get in the automotive section at Dollar Tree. Now, if you want to use the beads from Dollar Tree, they do have some colored wooden beads, as well as some pearls that come in the different sizes. If you do use the colored wood beads, you could spray paint them in like a white or a brown if you're going to go that route instead. If you want to do wood beads like I am, let me show you how I did that. I am using a total of 45 beads that I have divided up into groups of 15, so 3 groups of 15. One group I'm going to leave completely the way they are. I'm taking a glass jar and putting in a little bit of Waverly's Wax and Antique in the jar. Just a tiny bit, not even, it's just an eyeball amount, just enough that I can coat a group of the beads. I just dump in one set of the 15 beads, shake it up until I know that they are good and coated, and then I'm going to dump them out, blot them off, wipe them up. Super simple. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some water and then swish down. I did not add any more of the Waverly Wax. I'm just adding water. I'm adding my second group of beads, swishing it around and coating the beads. Now this time I'm pouring them into a container because now it's a lot of liquid, and I am then able to pull them out and put them onto a lint-free cloth and kind of just blot them off. I'm letting everything just set aside and dry. Once they completely dried, all I did was string them on to the twine, alternating the colors. After that, I added a little feather to tie them off. So let me show you how I created the feather. So for the feather, you want to have some cotton string as well as some backing, and you want your backing to coordinate with your string. So here I'm showing you some black felt. That does not coordinate with this, but if I was using a darker string, of course that could be used. But this case, I'm actually using some canvas. This is the stretch canvas that goes around the wood that you can get from Dollar Tree. I had used the wood for a previous project, but I had the canvas still left over, and it will be the perfect backing for this feather. So I am making 2 feathers, one for each side of the bead. So for one feather, you need 1 piece of string that is 12 inches long and 30 pieces that are 6 inches long. Now you will be trimming them up, but 6 inches actually makes it just easier to work with, but you will find that there is some waste with this. But the string, you get so much string from the Dollar Tree that you won't even notice that you hardly touched your string. Took my first string, my 12-inch string, I folded it in half, and then I wanted to secure it. Now, I'll be honest, the silicone was not the best choice to secure it on, so I ended up grabbing a wooden block, and the tape stuck much better to that. What I love about this silicone mat, it's great for peeling off, like the hot glue just peels right off of it, paint washes off of it, so I love using it all the time. But the painter's tape did not want to stick to it, so the wooden block ended up helping, and plus then I could move it around a lot easier as well. So when you're doing this, you're kind of doing like a faux square knot as you go down, but you're alternating each one. So let me give you a little bit of a closer look as to what I mean. What I love about this is that it looks harder than it is. So all you do is take 1 loop under and 1 loop over, and then you thread the ends through each of the loops and pull it, and that creates your square knot. What you do want to remember is that you are going to be alternating them. So I put 1 loop to your or our right. Now I'm taking my bottom loop and putting it to the left, and the top loop will now go to the right. If for some reason you forget and you make, oh no, which way did I go? That's okay. If you get it the wrong way, just push 1 down and put 1 in between them. It's okay. These slide up and down, as you can see. It's not rocket science. You can absolutely do this, watch a show, watch YouTube as you work. Super simple, super easy, but it looks more complicated than it is. Continue making your knots all the way down. When you get down and you have finished all 15 knots, or if you're making a larger feather, whatever your size, when you continue making your knots, you are going to comb it out. So you want to get a comb, something that has like a little fine comb, or even like a dog brush, and you're gonna comb out your string. So you're gonna hold with your finger the center because you don't want anything to move around, and then you're gonna work your way from the ends towards the center, just separating those individual strings and making this look even more like delicate as you go. You'll see what it is that I mean, but right now you can see all the strings are kind of tight, but these thicker strings are actually made up of smaller strings, and you'll see it looks so pretty once it's combed out. So to make sure that my feather is nice and brushed out, I do flip it over so that I can comb out all of those strings as fine as I can. And then to get that feather shape, I just lay it down and I comb it into the shape that I want. Once I have that feather shape, I do go in with my canvas to cut out a little piece of canvas into that feather shape as well. It does take me a couple of times to get exactly the shape, the size that I need, because I don't want it seen from the back, but this is what's going to add that support. Once I have the size that I want, I go in with my glue gun, making sure that I'm adding glue first to the center of that feather and then around the edges just ever so slightly. I attach that canvas and then I lift up the edges and add more hot glue to secure that down. Once I have it secured down, I go in with a pair of very sharp scissors to trim out my feather. Now, as I'm trimming it out, you will see that I do leave some margins. I do not get right up to that canvas. I do leave a little bit all the way around it because I still want to have some free flowing. I don't want it to be super stiff. This is what really adds that extra element. I did the exact same process to create a second feather because I wanted a feather on both ends of my beads. This is like an alternative to doing like tassels instead, but you could just have one feather on one side of your bead and choose to leave it at that. So before I could add the feathers on, I went ahead and added a knot to the ends of the beads so that they would not move. Then I took the remaining string, looped it through the feather, and tied one more knot to close it off, and that is all it took to make these cute little beads. I wrapped them around a vase. This is a great alternative than using a tassel at the end of the beads, and these are perfect because I can use these all year round and style them in so many different ways. Looking for more high-end inspired Dollar Tree DIYs, make sure you check out this video. I want to thank SUREBONDER again for sponsoring today's video and supporting me and my channel. I will have all the links in the description box for you to check out. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.